Thank you. Thank you, Linda, and thank you, Caroline. That was some warm-up act. When I was in my 20s in Bombay, I was taken to see a whole succession of astrologers and soothsayers. Very reluctantly, I was taken kicking and screaming. And one of them was a shadow reader. This is someone who measured my shadow and then sat down, reached behind him, and took out a scroll which was written hundreds of years ago, apparently, and told me my future from the scroll, which he had calculated from the shadow. So I didn't believe a word of what he said, but even the mind of a non-believer can be occupied and taken possession of, and in a way colonized. In the year of my death, when I was 25, the shadow reader said I would live to a ripe old age. He licked his finger, flicked a page, and told me the year of my death. That year has arrived. Out of the rose garden. When you come away from the rose garden, your eyes have changed color in the rain, and the scent of attar follows you home. You arrive in the city of pointing fingers to keening sirens and beeping phones, the clicking, the screens all on, and you still have petals falling from your mouth. You cross from corner to corner, a fugitive in this time. Your eyes are watercolor. In them, the city and all its workings have been stamped with guilt. The script blazes over the walls of the meat market, but the streets are brambled, thorned, and on the illuminated borders, there are drops of blood. The map of this country is made of scars. They will put the body on a slab for examination. No. Out of respect for this body, no. There will be an inquiry to determine, no. It is clear the missile came from, no. There was some jostling, two sides clashing, no. As we heard on the news, there is no clear indication, no. Both sides were at fault, no. Seen from above, it looks like grief wrapped in a shroud of dust. But the blood has seeped so long and deep, it could be a ring of rust. Out of respect for the wounds, they will be washed, inspected, and sewn up to look like the map of a country that does not exist. They will carry the body as if it's a homeland they have lost, and brought to a field of poppies to lay to rest. On their shoulders, they will carry the coffin, yes. The mourners will lift their hands to honor her, yes. There will be a bullet, yes. There will be jostling, yes. This is a wound opening. This is a country being torn again and again and again, yes. A person falling apart, yes. And everyone watching, yes. Did we watch this happening? Yes. Did anyone see? No. One says this, another says that. Maybe the truth happened before the video started or after the clip ended. Maybe it was nipping at the heels of the person who posted. But looking at the comments, there's another point of view. The incident took place 2 years ago. She did not die. She's still alive in another city. She made it through. The culprit caught on camera has apologized for any offense that might have been caused inadvertently. There is a slippage on cobbled words and canted stage. If you don't pay attention, the sense slides off the page. This one is sitting on the fence. That one says there are always two sides. They say it's old truth, chewed over, spat out, used up, stale news. Witness. Sometimes the truth is not a beacon, but a small flame, or only the light of a phone falling on the face of a witness. Face to face. Who is telling this? The one who gives the gift or the one who takes? Can the writer be forgiven by the one who is written? Does the warp look back at the one who's weaving and say, this is not how I remember it, not how it happened at all? Who belongs in this thing you are making? The rose garden throws off its symmetry and lifts away from the page with a mind of its own. The wind spreads rumors and a new language blows in, written in script that looks like your heart beating. Windows tilt to catch the truth at a different angle. Our shadow lies on this page, reader. Your hand slides off parchment to touch human skin. Open the other face. Look in. This is not a prayer mat. It is the prayer. Loom. They are weaving the world and everything that lives in it. They bend over the loom, reading it like a book that will teach them the structure of tulips, crocus heads, roses. If the knot is wrong, they feel the mistake as a glitch in the bones. When their fingers bleed, the borders leak ruby and scarlet. Trees blossom out of season, fruit fills and ripens as if time means nothing, as if pain is only the start of beauty. They are weaving so hard and fast you think their lives depend on it. They take the tears off their children's faces to fill up the water courses. They are weaving their times in thread, teaching the loom the way of the world. It hums with business, heaves with the blasphemy of human bodies, hosts of angels, swarms of midges. There's no end to it. Songbirds turn into bombers, gazelles to armored tanks. On every border, there's new danger, drones overhead, walls blasted to rubble. Messages appear on the backs of buses. Neon signs call for help. Clubbers spill out, looking for Ubers, demanding bacon rolls, or the first train home, vomiting at corners. The one who is tied to the rock by a chain watches the vultures circling down for the succulence inside, the liver. Here is the withered garden, trees whipped to the bone. Starlings fall out of the sky and the weavers bury them in silk. They make up spells and blessings to hold things together till morning, when the children get up out of sleep, bare feet on the floor, windows clattering, doors banging open to let the green back in. It smells like split lemon. The weaver makes a pitch. This is the work of many hands. It contains all of paradise, eaten by moths in one small corner. For you, special price. But the roses are savages that will eat you alive, given the chance. Where you belong. You can squat in this room if you don't say a word. You can stay in this town if you pay for a room. You can go on this train if it's off-peak. You can speak your mind if you change your look. You can have your chance if you don't expect luck. You can be in the group if you get enough likes. You can live with family if you toe the line. You can keep your children if we countersign. You can enter this church if you quote the book. You can open the book if you close your mind. You can save our time if you follow the rules. You can play a role if you buy the mask. You can take on the task if no one else wants it. You can ask the question if you never offend. You can belong, but only if you don't stay too long. You can end it now or start over again. You can follow the signs, but never turn back. You can see you've run out of time and years. You can leave in tears or go with a laugh. You can take those clothes, but leave your shoes and that attitude behind. It does you no favors, and do us a favor. Don't change your mind. I grew up in Glasgow, and I don't know how many of you know what a piece is. It's bread and jam, or bread and something in it, but a slice of bread. And very often children in Glasgow would call up to their mothers, "Mammy, throw us doon a piece." Some of you maybe have been in Scotland and know this. So this is called the piece. "Mammy, throw us doon a piece." Tossed from the third floor window, caught before it hits the pavement, no time lost. She can do without a troop of neighborhood children tramping through the close and up her new-washed stairs with filthy feet. And anyway, what would a monkey know about the taste of ginger? That's a Punjabi proverb, which I translated. She never did. Only if the catch is missed, it lands like a massacre on the tar macadam, paper split, white bread and jam streaked red. There's pelting up and down the street till lamps are lit. My head's bleeding, my face is cut, kilty, called bum, 3 stairs up. The called bum is what happens when you wear a kilt. You come back bloodied from the turf wars, Protestant against Catholic, Rangers against Celtic, and never think to say, "This isn't our fight." A fight is a fight. You stand shoulder to shoulder by the middens. It feels right. Even when you make it to the close with a knocked out tooth or a bloody nose, ready for her tongue lashing. Why stick your nose in? What goes of your father? Before you get to wolf down a piece of the other country, the hot tukra and ginger with the sting of Punjab in the tail. Back. When the person holding your passport says, "You'll have to go back where you came from," you're 4 again, crossing the bridge at Jamaica Street, the River Clyde rolling under your feet, away to the sea where the ships set sail. And when the woman in the queue mutters, "This is not where you belong," you think of the way light plays hide and seek over the hills on Sunday mornings up the Campsie Fells. And when the man outside the pub looks you up and down and says, "Go back to your country," you know you could squash the stoter if you could be bothered with "Go back to your cave and bile your heed, you dolly walloper." And even if you're wired to the moon, that's when your heart goes home and you coorie doon, all of Glasgow shining in your window, because this is where you came from, the place that will always have your back. I feel a bit that way about Newcastle now too. For the minicab driver who looked as if he needed feeding. He looked so young, his hands bony at the wheel. I wonder if he's been out all night, what he might have had for breakfast, and what he eats when the shift ends, whether his mother makes him Punjabi samosas, or Bengal mustard fish, or Kerala rice, if he prefers the mangoes of the north, like me, or the sweeter ones from further south. Before I can stop them, the words fall out of my mouth. "And where are you from?" I mean, your people. They land somewhere on the back of his neck, slide into the rearview mirror, roll into his eyes. He looks back for 1 second, and his face is a passport, and his back is a flag, and he says, "Barnsley," and I pay and get out. I was in the bar of the Station Hotel in Hull one day, and I imagined seeing Philip Larkin sitting alone at a table far away drinking a beer. And I was wondering If that happened, would I go up and speak to him? Never. Would he even see me? No, of course not. I'd be nothing more than a kind of unwelcome blot at the edge of his vision. Playing with that thought, I moved on to resurrect him as a young man and began to construct his imaginary profile on a dating app. Swiping left on Larkin. Here he's younger, his shoulders thinner. She flicks a finger, swipes left. He is dismissed without a flicker. If they pass on the street, she sees a boy trudge by with a book and a satchel under the arm on the way to a lifetime of drudge, easy to overlook. In the edge of his eye, she's a blur between staying or dying, a whiff of abroad, the chaos of prams and infants teething. At the end of every birth is grieving. He takes the dark for a walk, his light on a leash through the sputtering streets of a town caught in the act of drowning. From a window, a curtain is waving, but his back is turned. Shops shut up and shutters come down on the chatter of living, the guttering years. All roads lead to a leaving. He goes into the bar of the station hotel, sits for a while. When he leaves a pale ring on the table. Gold spills out of basements over his feet. He walks down a street and out of his name. Beyond rumor and fame, a flurry of letters blown into gutters, the glitter of language on cobbles, his words remain, bright as believing or half-believing. At the end of the world, there is always the sea and its breathing, swiping right, across a blue screen to something beginning. Night walk with lit windows. The roads are the same, but they've pulled on a hood that kills the sound and shadows the walls. Windows begin to light up. Everyone is home, some in their rooms, that girl in a kitchen. From a bulb above, light falls so hard it bleeds out her forehead and bruises her cheek. She's at the table, checking her phone again, tapping for word of outside. Eyes down, she could be praying, her prayers answered with pictures of kittens and dogs, a promise of kindness. May the gods she finds at her shrine give what she asks for and more. Stretches of coastline, rivers and oceans, excuse me, rivers and oceans with all their creatures, orchards overflowing with apples. Click here, post this, please share. She looks out of the window to where you are. You wave, she lifts her hand. Night walk with blackbird. Night walk is long as the dark, dark long as the shadow, shadow long as lost gods, gods long gone as gutted words. Because I have walked so many miles alone, because it has been too long since I saw your face, the rings are falling off my fingers, bangles sliding off my wrists. When I come to count the dead, they do not look like numbers. They look like people who were loved and laid with care on hospital beds. Over the long wailing of ambulances, a blackbird begins to sing. And I think, this is what I mean. This is what I was trying to say all along. With that premonition, with that forecast looming over me, I thought it was a good idea to write a will. Writing the will. Before you begin to make an inventory of material gains and worldly goods, you're told it is possible and even advisable to bequeath your entire digital history to your heirs. the horror of it, the ignominy. She experiences a moment of dread. Supposing it comes back into fashion to bury the dead with all they possess, the laptops, phones, chargers, computers, flat screens, consoles, cupboards, sofas. The shame of it, the scale of the tomb to be sunk underground for the cars and hairdryers, the unworn dresses, too tight to wear, too dear to lose. Think of the tons of soil to be shoveled out of the earth for the shoes. My God, the shoes. She has an off day. Sod off if you've sold the book or bagged the prize or launched a career or lost a stone and dropped a dress size. Sod off if you managed the holiday in Sharm el-Sheikh and posted a picture of the swimming pool and strawberry mojito you are sipping this minute with a pink umbrella and ice. When I'm not like this, I'm nice, really. Smiley face. She contemplates her death. Please don't write an obituary or send a tweet that says how sweet I was. I died despising everything and every one of you, and especially did not appreciate the pictures you hearted of rabbits and donkeys. Night visitors. You can trust no one these days. With daily muggings on the street and talk of burglaries, they call the experts in to set up a network of interlocked alarms, infrared cameras at the entry points, cunning passwords, keys and fobs, sensors that trigger alerts on multiple mobile phones. They are reassured all the things inside are secure: laptops, consoles, golf clubs, miniatures, the collection of samurai swords, designer handbags, watches, rings. Wherever they may be, New York, Abu Dhabi, Beijing, they can watch the periphery. They expect strangers when the alerts begin. A fox skulks out of the bushes. A squirrel steals down a tree. A rat squeezes through a hole in the wall, all caught on camera. And here is the one who arrives in the night, not much more than a breath spun into the lens, burnt out to white. All systems switch on to watch it come, an angel in a blur of light. The host. While I've been away, the fruit flies have moved in with their extended family and rise politely off a feast of black banana skin to welcome me home. I swat and slap, but they just laugh on the updraft of my flapping, batting hands. The banana gone, I open a window, hoping they will make off to some other repast, but they post a halo around my head, 200 wing beats to a second, hatched with a brain far quicker than mine. At my desk, I'm possessed. Follow the threads for evidence of pestilence, the death of civilizations by Zebub, Arab, all the dust of Egypt turned to gnats that torment livestock, squat on ruined crop, rotted fish and frog. In the face of this invasion, I'm an avenger sent to stop a plague, enter, kill fruit flies. Study the traps, fill a glass jar with cider vinegar, stir in sugar, cover with cunning cling film, pierce and wait, and they come. Hover like decorous guests at a table, perch on the rim. I watch them drown one by one, then return to my desk. But just as I begin to write, one rises up at the edge of my sight, like the crop duster in North by Northwest. I spin back into battle, set the trap again, more delicious, more sugar, more stealth. It sits on the lip, licks at the cling film, sips. I strike. It dies a vinegar death. Through the rest of the day, I revisit the site. no sign of return. The next morning, no one is there. The jar untouched, my table bare in the desolate kitchen. I try to work, but keep coming back to stand like an expectant host, waiting to welcome the guest I miss. But the radiance. But I didn't believe a word he said. The shadow reader predicted the year of my death, not how or where. I shrugged and put it out of my head, but my body believed. There was no way I could die at 35 or 45. I crossed murderous roads, ran red lights and rickshaws, took flights in turbulent skies, watched a plague go by. But in the year of the shadow, I remember the veins on his hand, the finger he licked, the mark on the scroll. I try to read the names of the ones who are dying when it should have been me. But all I can see is the name of the earth, right here, written over and over in the dying year. Your session has been terminated. He took my shadow like an unstitched length of cloth, washed the stories out, and hung the rest to dry. What's left when the mess is rinsed away? Messages posted everywhere. Parts of speech passers-by can only faintly hear. The best and least of what there is to say before the world shudders to a stop, and the frozen frame becomes a shrine to what we were, touched by God, profane. We've lost you. You're breaking up. We'll come back to you when we have a better line. Try switching off and switching on again. It works sometimes. Everywhere, the angels. They are here with us, wings thrust into silk and wool, crawling over used surfaces where the body has thrashed and turned and shed its cells, its lovely dust. They leave a trail of eggs that float through warp and weft. The ghost children will stay unnamed, but eat the beauty of this life till there is nothing left of it but indrawn breath. And they will find Jerusalem in hair and fur, the fiber spun from hope and dread in a lifetime that will last days and hang by a radiant thread. And I'll end with this one. I walk in the shadow. My walk is iambic. I keep the beat. Shall I compare the two? Da-dum, da-dum. There's comfort in knowing that as long as the stress is in the right place, and as long as I keep up the pace, it doesn't matter where my feet are going. If I can hear the iamb of my heart, I'm not dead yet. My walk is a sonnet. My walk is mashallah. My walk is fuck you, shadow reader. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.